few days ago, we talked about how I made the case that I think Starcraft Brood War is the hardest game. There are 5 real games. Counter-Strike, Starcraft, chess, Rocket League, Counter-Strike, Starcraft, chess, Rocket League, and Melee. Those are the 5. Everything else doesn't count. And honestly, of all of those, there's really only one, and it's Starcraft. Starcraft is actually the hardest game in the world. And anyone who doesn't agree hasn't played it. That's a fact. And I'm talking about Starcraft 2, I'm talking about Starcraft Brood War. Harder than chess? Yes. Yes, 100%. But in chess, they train from like being an infant. They train more. They train more in StarCraft. For me, it's an interesting discussion. Actually, it's not interesting. It's interesting that people would think otherwise. But I like talking about it because I am so aware that Flash is the greatest gamer who ever lived. The thing about chess is there's no... I mean, I guess a little bit in Blitz, right? But realistically, there's no real mechanics. There's no mechanical differentiator. And computers are so much better that a lot of it is memorization. And the gap between a good player and the very best players is bigger in StarCraft than I think any other game. It's memorization, under 1,000 elo take TBH. All right, what was Bobby Fischer's take? What was his elo? Dumbass? I like the piece that looks like a horsey. You think one quote negates the 20 years? There's people that are under 20 that have beaten Magnus Carlson. Do you understand that? There's people under 20 who can beat Flash now. There's nobody. There was nobody close to Flash at his top. Nobody. But I think the way I would describe it is, if you were playing chess and someone made you also spin 2 plates and keep them balanced, that would be harder. If chess was exactly the same rules, but you also had to do that, that would be harder. Everyone can agree that would be a harder game. I'm not saying it's a better game. I think people got confused because I was saying I'm not saying it's better. If anything, I'm a bigger fan of like Magnus Carlson than I am of Flash. I don't think Flash is like, I actually hated Flash and made many articles against him. But I think people don't understand that the game is as strategically deep, but it also has this impossible physical barrier. So I wanted to just show it. I wanted to show it because I don't think people understand. So I got the game. I like reinstalled it. It's a fucking 1 megabyte file. So like right off the bat, the game has already started. It's 2 seconds in and I would have lost. Like against a good player, I haven't done anything yet, so I'm already too far behind to come back. So what you have to do is you have to flick your hand so fast to get these 4 guys to go start mining. But realize this, first of all, before I do that, realize that if you click them all on the same patch, you've already lost. So I've already lost just by doing, if I do this instantly fast, that's a loss because they can't all mine the same patch. So that's a lost time. These guys, there's 2 not mining. They have to slowly spread out. So what you have to do actually, if you're a top player, to not lose already, is I have to fucking clone. But they have to have no delay in getting that. So already, okay, get that. That's the first thing. At the same time, I have to start production on my first miner. And this is the very beginning of the game. They're not hotkeys. I hotkey to create a unit, but I can't hotkey to clone them all to this. Like that is, I have to shift out to get them all to go to separate patches. Then, you notice, I created the miner. Where is the miner? Why is he not mining? I'll tell you this. Imagine I try to rally point the mine to this patch. Then I create the unit, okay? Watch this. Watch when the unit creates and I rally it. It's going to finish creating. It goes to the patch, right? It does not mine. It does not start mining. Which means you have to fucking individually, for every worker you create at every base for a 30-minute game, make sure that it mines. Okay? Now, imagine I create a barracks. Imagine I create a barracks and I want to create fucking military units to fight. You're constantly at the top right. That's how many units out of 10 you have. So if you hit your max population cap, You have to build a supply depot. And that has to be ready to go. If you ever stop production for a moment, you're going to lose. Good player. So I have to constantly have this ready to go, done at the time this fills up. This is just poor game design. Listen, I'm not arguing about whether it's game design or not. I'm talking about this game was played professionally by people that practice 14 hours a day. They played on stages in big arenas. It was actually the first game to get big arena esports. And watching two people at the top of their craft play this game is incredible. So imagine I want to create a marine from this building. All right, I can press the hotkey and create it. But let's say I have 2 of these buildings or 10 of these buildings, and I want to create 10 marines at once. You can't do it. You can't do it. You cannot click all the buildings. You can only click one building at a time. You cannot grab multiple buildings. So if I want to create 2 marines, I have to go click this, click this, click this, click this. If I have 10 of them, I have to go click, 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 click. And the marine builds in fucking 8 seconds. So then I have to do it again because queuing up like this is bad. Top players don't queue up like this because they're wasting money. So I have to be ready 8 seconds later to come back and make it again. It's fucking insane. And then all that combined, and if I get enough units, let's say I get fucking this many units. Oh, I can't pick more than 12. So if I have an army of 100 units and I want to move it, I have to grab them 10 at a time and coordinate the movement. It's fucking insane. That's what I want to say. I want you to understand that, like, and they move at different speeds, and it's the hardest game ever made. And then you watch someone like Flash, and he moves like it's fucking, like he's a maestro, like it's a virtuoso. Like, and I want to show you actual footage of his hands while playing. I think that helps understand. This is a video recorded a long time ago. Before even Flash's era. So Flash is faster than this by a lot. This is Nada, and he's like maybe an early Flash. He's one of the first, they call him Bonjois, which is like tyrants or dominators or kings of the Starcraft scene. He was the first guy to really start dominating tournaments. Right? Look at how he plays, bro. You can see it. He's moving every individual vulture. He's moving his fucking... Look at his fingers. He's got 12 hotkeys going. He's microing his front lines, then tabbing back to his back lines to make every one of his new SCVs go mine. It's an average rate of how quick your fingers move. Okay? To win a championship, it should be at least over 200 and in the lower 300s. It's basically like, to win a StarCraft championship, you need to be doing 300 actions per minute. That's at his era. This guy would get blown the fuck out by Flash. It just absolutely blown the fuck out. Like, Nada would never take a game on Flash. But like, I don't know, just watching this is like crazy. So I just wanted to show my side of it as someone who has practiced both games. It's like, there is a unique level of like, holy fuck, when you try to get good at StarCraft, when you try to learn StarCraft. It's an incredibly deep strategic game, and you as a player will almost never see the strategy because of how bad your hands are. That's why it was so fun to watch top level play, because you need someone who's also hitting 300 actions per minute to even see the strategy. Dude, so many of these players got fucking wrists just fucking melted. StarCraft ruined wrists. It ruined these people's hands. Like, it was not a good idea. It was probably a cosmic mistake. You have to have like a mind of bees that can split up the 400 things you have to do. It's even StarCraft 2 is hard, but it's not near Brood War. That's all I'm saying. Oh, this is an interesting. I've never seen this.
StarCraft will never die. Since its release in
what a IGN dead wrong.
1998, it has been played non-stop in South Korea. In fact, you would be very, very hard-pressed to find a month where StarCraft was not in the top 10 most played games in PC bongs, aka internet cafes, across the country.
But like, I've been to cafes like this, they're so fun. And by the way, the coolest thing is, like, on most of these cafes, there's a little button right here you can press to get ramen delivered to your fucking cubicle. So you can just sit there and press the ramen button, and they'll bring you fucking tasty ramen. It rules. Again, all this stuff is like well before esports got big in the West. So it's like, it's just, they were ahead of the game on like people, huge crowds of people men and women too. It's like it was one of the cool things is like StarCraft audiences were very 50-50.
Of screaming fans.
Who was the guy who won and then stripped down to go into the ocean? Yeah, it was a guy named Firebat Hero at this tournament. He beat Savior, who was the best player in the world at the time. A guy named Savior. Ended up being a huge scandal where Savior match fixed and got fucking sent to Korean jail. But Firebat Hero beat Savior, then ripped his shirt off, ran through the crowd and into the ocean. Just jumped in the water. Actually, I don't know if we have the... I want to watch that fucking... This isn't it, but this is the first time he beat him. That's his team. That's his team. That's his coaches. And again, Savior was the best player in the world at the time, so it was like a big deal. And this guy kept beating him. He beat Savior in there was an ace match. Okay, he beats because the way that the format works is you have 2 teams of players and they send out 1 player at a time and winner stays. It was badass. So you could have somebody do what's called an all kill where they would go out there and just beat every single other person. Like Flash would get all kills all the time. And it's a fucking sick way to do 1v1 RTS as like a team. It was cool. Pretty insane. So yeah, that's what the game's just fucking hard is my fucking long and short of it. The game's dumb, stupid fucking hard. And watching someone like Flash consistently dominate I wasn't even a fan of it. I actually hated it. But it was incredibly impressive. Have you seen the clip of the StarCraft player using his feet to play? That's a great example. Let me to give you an idea of how good Flash was. Okay. Let me explain this with levels. This guy on the left is legend. He's one of the best non-Korean players in history. Practiced for a decade. I think he's from Taiwan. I'm not 100% sure. One of the best players to ever touch a keyboard outside of Korea. He gets beaten so badly by Larva that Larva beats him playing with his feet. I want to find that. Yeah. Plays with his feet. Larva is playing this impossible game with his feet and beats Legend. So Larva absolutely, because Larva is a good Korean player. And Korea was so far ahead of the world that it's not even close. So Larva beats Legend with his feet. In the last tournament Larva played in, he played versus Flash. Now you might notice something. Flash is the only player in the history of StarCraft to go random in a professional tournament. Now, Flash normally is a Terran player. Terran is the guys I just showed you. But he decided for this tournament, because he had won the past 3 tournaments. He had been dominating for so long that he said, fuck it, I'm going random. Now, again, in StarCraft, the races are so different. Terran and Zerg and Protoss are so different that, like, you practice one race for 10 years. You learn the ins and outs and the builds. And everyone has been no one's ever done random because it's so bad. Because you're going to get, there's 9 different matchups. It's impossible. Flash goes random versus Larva. And he fucking 3-0s him, including a game where Flash also gets Zerg. So Flash is the blue Zerg here, and Larva has played Zerg at a top level for fucking 10 years, his whole life. Flash has never played Zerg professionally. And then Flash beats him ZVZ. So it's just fucking the level of insanity with how good Flash was is I think unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's why I just think he was born to play that game in some way. Again, no random players for a 20-year, professional game teams, top players, coaches. Flash in the match for semifinals or whatever, got a pretty unlucky random roll. He got Terran like no times, and he lost to a guy that won the tournament. But again, the reason he's playing random is because he won the last 3, and for this tournament, they made, because the tournaments can change the map pool. That was one of the cool things about StarCraft, is the maps aren't set. They made new maps. They had professional, full-time map makers to make maps, and they made maps that were so fucking bad for Terran. as an open fuck you to Flash. They literally tried their fucking hardest to make sure Flash wouldn't win a 4th tournament because it was getting bad for viewership. So, like, that season, they made maps so fucking bad that Flash was like, all right, fuck this. I'm gonna play random and at least I'll have fun, you know? So at that point, was the Flash only turn getting top 8? Let's look. I mean, what was the tournament? Flash versus Larva random tournament. What is this? This is ASL season 10. ASL season 10 bracket. Flash. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know. But the top 4 was Zerg, Flash playing random, and Zerg. So that's not normal. You know what I'm saying? There was 11 Zergs qualified. I mean, the map pool was clearly biased. All right. Anyway, so that he was just fucking good. That's my long and short of it. Is the game's fucking stupid, dumb, goofy ass hard, and he was crazy at it.